Now, amid the unending attacks on members of the Hindu community in Bangladesh, the former Bangladesh Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, has spoken up, blaming the interim head of government, Muhammad Yunus, as the mastermind of the attacks on minorities in that country. In an audio released by Awami League sources, Sheikh Hasina slams the Yunus administration for the series of attacks on temples as well as churches. Referring to the unabated violence on minorities, Hasina pointed out that mass killings were being carried out in Bangladesh through a meticulously designed plan.
Mastermind plan করে সে করেছে এই গণহত্যার বিচার ওই তার সমন্বয়কারীরা এবং ইউনুস তার মাস্টারমাইন্ড তাদেরই ঘটানো তারই লাশের পর লাশ ফেলেছে। এমন ওই আমাদের জিয়া রহমানের ছেলে যেটা লন্ডনে বসে আছে তার একরাম সেও কিন্তু বলেছে লাশের উপর লাশ করে তাদের সরকার পড়ে যাবে। তাদের কথা আর আমরা তো চাই যে লাশের পর লাশ করুন, তারপর হিন্দু বৌদ্ধ খ্রিস্টান তাদের মধ্যে নেই প্রত্যেকে 11টা গির্জা বেরিয়েছে, মন্দির বেরিয়েছে, বুদ্ধ মঠ দিয়েছে এবং হিন্দুরা যারা আন্দোলন করলো সেই ইসকনের লিডারকে গ্রেপ্তার করেছে এবং আওয়ামী লীগ অত্যাচার শুরু করেছে তাদের উপর। এই মানে সংখ্যালঘুদের উপর এই অত্যাচার কিসের জন্য, কেন তাদের উপর এইভাবে নির্মমভাবে তাদের অত্যাচার করা হচ্ছে এবং তাদের উপর হামলা করা হচ্ছে, সেটা একটি তো প্রশ্ন।
Well, let me go across right now to Pooja, who is joining us from Kolkata for more on this. Pooja, a strong statement there coming from Sheikh Hasina, the leader of the Awami League, and of course also was the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, speaking out in the strongest terms against violence against the minority communities in Bangladesh. Take us through the audio tape and the kind of reactions that is now evoked.
Well, ever since the Sheikh Hasina government was toppled in Bangladesh, there has been occasions where she has in fact reached out to Awami League supporters, and this audio is very, very important because this comes for the first time where she's not just reaching out to the supporters of Awami League, her party, but also comes down heavily on Professor Yunus government. Remember, she mentions how the temples are being attacked in Bangladesh and also minority community coming under attack, and also categorically stating how the ISKCON monk has been arrested. So she's saying how they were safe during her government, and in the present regime, the interim government is not doing enough to protect the rights of the Hindu community, the minority community, and is going in fact to arrest Hindu monks. And in a short while ago, we've also learned how his bail hearing has now been scheduled for 2nd January. So clearly, hitting out at the Professor Yunus government, and she's saying the minority community is currently coming under attack, and these kinds of attacks are absolutely unwarranted, uncalled for in present-day Bangladesh.
Right, so that's a strong statement coming from the leader of the Awami League, Sheikh Hasina, of course, speaking about the continued persecution of religious minorities in Bangladesh. Pooja, how are the responses now from your sources, especially over the kind of reactions coming to Sheikh Hasina's statement, especially from the rival parties in Bangladesh, be it the BNP or even for that matter the interim government that's being led by Muhammad Yunus? How are they reacting to the statement from Sheikh Hasina?
The interim government is yet to issue a statement on this particular audio clip of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. But what we're given to understand is that the BNP leaders are saying that, one should not listen to what Sheikh Hasina is saying clearly, because now BNP is, trying to become part of the elections which will be held in Bangladesh. But there is also no clarity when the elections will be held. So BNP is also not very happy with the interim government, because the interim government is yet to issue any clarification as to how long the government will stay in power and when can the elections be held. So clearly the opposition parties there, be it BNP or the Gona Forum, they are not just hitting out at Professor Yunus, but they're also trying to stand by the minority community there. They are also saying that these kind of attacks are uncalled for, and the way this Hindu monk Chinmoy was arrested in Bangladesh and then later on his bail was rejected kinds of gives a wrong message across the world how minority communities are safe in Bangladesh at this point in time.
All right, Pooja, stay with us because let's once again listen in to that audio purportedly of Sheikh Hasina, the former Bangladesh Prime Minister, speaking about and against the continued violence against Hindus and Christians in Bangladesh.
mastermind প্ল্যান করে সে করেছে গণহত্যার বিচার ওই তার সমন্বয়কারীরা এবং ইউনুস তারা তার মাস্টারমাইন্ড তাদেরই ঘটানো তারই লাশের পর লাশ ফেলেছে এমন ওই আমাদের জিয়া রহমানের ছেলে যেটা লন্ডনে বসে আছে তার একটা সেও কিন্তু বলেছে লাশের উপর লাশ করে তাহলে সরকার পড়ে যাবে এটা তো তাদের কথা আর আমরা তো চাই যে লাশের উপর লাশ করুন তারপর হিন্দু বৌদ্ধ খ্রিস্টান কার পেতে বাদ দেয়নি প্রত্যেকে 11টা গির্জা বেরিয়েছে মন্দির বেরিয়েছে বুদ্ধ মঠ দিয়েছে এবং হিন্দুরা যখন আন্দোলন করলো সেই ইসকনের লিডারকে গ্রেপ্তার করেছে এবং আবার কিন্তু অত্যাচার শুরু করেছে তাদের উপর এই মানে সংখ্যালঘুদের উপরে এই অত্যাচার কিসের জন্য কেন তাদের উপর এইভাবে নির্মমভাবে তাদের অত্যাচার করা হচ্ছে এবং তাদের উপর হামলা করা হচ্ছে সেটা একটি তো প্রশ্ন।
Now, meanwhile, justice continues to elude ISKCON priest Chinmoy Das. A week after he had been arrested on charges of sedition, the bail hearing now came up and no lawyer appeared for the priest. Now, this pushed the bail hearing to next month, which is the month of Jan, which means that Mr. Chinmoy Das will remain in jail for another month. ISKCON has now said that a Bangladeshi lawyer, Raman Roy, who was initially defending Chinmoy Das, was brutally attacked at his residence by radicals and is currently in the ICU. This has led to lawyers refusing to appear for the priest during the bail hearing that led to the Chattogram court to adjourn proceedings until the 2nd of January next year.
पहले तो हम लोग बहुत ही आशा कर रहे थे कि उनको बेल मिल जाएगी। जो रेमन रॉय करके उनके जो एक एडवोकेट थे उनको इतनी बुरी तरह से मारा उन्होंने घर में घुसकर उनके घर को पूरा तहस नहस कर दिया। आज कोई उनके पक्ष का वकील ही नहीं पहुंच पाया और उनके अगेंस्ट में पुलिस ने मामला भी दर्ज करके रखा है। 9-10 दिन वो जेल में थे, वो बहुत ही दिक्कत में थे। हमने देखा कि किस तरह उनको जो प्रसाद और दवा देने के लिए 2 ब्रह्मचारी जाते थे उनको भी गिरफ्तार करके हटा दिया। मेरे को तो बहुत शंका होने लगी है कि वो उनकी स्थिति कैसी है।
Now, the atrocities that have been inflicted upon Bangladeshi Hindus also found resonance in the UK Parliament. British members of Parliament Barry Gardner and Preeti Patel spoke up on the violence against Hindus in Bangladesh in the British Parliament on Monday. Bringing up the attacks on Hindus and the derailing of the law and order situation in Bangladesh, the members of Parliament requested a statement from the Foreign Secretary David Lammy on the current situation and also expressed deep concern over the ongoing violence.
A leading Hindu monk, Chinmoy Krishna Das, who is a former leader of the ISKCON Krishna consciousness movement, has been arrested. People are concerned that whilst he was engaged in exclusively peaceful protest, he has been denied due process, charged with sedition and refused bail. Yet none of the individuals who attacked the temples has been apprehended or charged. The situation is clearly on a knife edge, and with such large diaspora populations in the UK and with large Hindu communities with strong links to the community in Bangladesh, I'd ask my honourable friend what more she can do to have discussions with the Bangladeshi government to ensure that, and with other partners in the region, to ensure that tensions are lowered, the rule of law put into effect, and calm and order restored.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Right Honourable Member for this UQ. It's an important subject, and he's also raised the arrest of the ISKCON leader, and it's a place of worship I too am very familiar with near his constituency. But, Mr. Speaker, these are deep and long-standing ties between our two countries, and the Minister herself is right to point out that even though she's visited Bangladesh recently, as my right honourable friend, the member opposite, has said, the degree of escalation in the violence is deeply, deeply concerning. And what we are witnessing now is just uncontrolled violence in many quarters. And we are now watching with horror and shock as further violence is spread in Bangladesh. And all our thoughts in this House are most definitely with the diaspora community here and those who are affected in Bangladesh. These are deeply disturbing reports.
Now, remember, back home as well, politics has been playing out over the atrocities being inflicted upon minorities in Bangladesh. While the centre has expressed strong protest, the opposition has been questioning the centre over what they describe as the silence of the Prime Minister on the issue.
टीएमसी क्या कर रहे हैं बांग्लादेश इशू को लेकर के? गाजा में अगर इजराइल बम मारता है तो उनका और एकदम दिल धड़कता है उसके लिए। बगल में जो बंगाली करते हैं, जो पार्टी जो बंगाली के ऊपर अत्याचार हो रहा है उसके लिए कुछ नहीं बोल रहे। हिंदू बांग्लादेश में बंगाली नहीं है क्या? तो उनकी राजनीति कौन कर रहा है? अब हिम्मत है तो उसका विरोध करो कि अमानविक है, केंद्र के ऊपर क्यों छोड़ देते हैं?
भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जो विश्व गुरु बनते हैं, हिंदुओं पर अत्याचार हो रहा है, माइनॉरिटी पे अत्याचार हो रहा है बांग्लादेश में, एक जुबान नहीं बोल पा रहा है। काश वो जाते इंदिरा जी की समाधि पर और प्रेरणा लेते, शक्ति लेते और हिंदुओं की रक्षा करते बांग्लादेश में।
भारत सरकार को चिंता करनी चाहिए। भारत सरकार चिंतित हो क्योंकि इस तरह का काम नहीं हो तो भारत सरकार क्या ताकतवर सरकार बनती है अपने आप को, अगर हमारे साधु संतों का भी सम्मान नहीं कर सकते।
Well, big breaking news coming from Bangladesh as the world wakes up to the atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. A writ petition has now been filed in a high court in Bangladesh seeking a ban on the broadcast of Indian TV channels there. Now, this writ petition has been filed by a lawyer called Ikhlas Uddin Bhuiya and the secretaries of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry there, as well as the Home Ministry in Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, and others have been named as respondents in this petition. So this is a writ petition, and all of these parties have been named as respondents. Presumably, the High Court there, once it takes cognizance of the petition, will seek a response from the interim government in Bangladesh as well. And interestingly, it'll be interesting to see what kind of a response that evokes there as well. Right now, we're taking a short break. We'll come back with